and information in order for you to become a successful gambler. We have 5 packages that I think really do an incredible job of providing the information tailored to you, what you want, and what your sports betting needs are. For more information, reach out to the TWSN team, but we have a ton of stuff coming your way. Content from fantasy football, sports betting for UFC, NBA, NHL, and of course the NFL. We are so excited to be able to bring this service to you, and let us know if there's any more information you need.
Get up, let me begin. This is TWSN. You ain't heard about us yet, well you better know now, because it's the place that it all goes down.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the TWSN Soccer Sit-Down Show. I'm Joe Cameron, joined here with Christian DeBluck and Max Marrero. How are you guys doing today?
Doing well. We got a big game tomorrow. Christian and I, as much as we get along and we're buddies, we're not going to be buddies for the entirety of tomorrow, regardless of the result. But may the best team win. It's going to be a really, really good one. But I'm just excited to talk all of this that's going on.
Yeah, I agree. Tomorrow's going to be one interesting game. We got a lot in sports tomorrow. We got the Masters as well, so that's going to be something else that a lot of people are going to be attached to. But yeah, super excited. It's going to be fun to talk about best 11s today. UCL, we got a lot going on in the world of football at the moment, so super excited to talk today.
Absolutely. So first off, if you guys haven't seen on my Twitter at jcamo4, check those out. We have each of our best 11s, and there's a poll below that tweet in the thread. Make sure you guys vote on it. And let's just go over our best 11s first. You guys have yours up with you right now, or do you want me to just read them all out? You guys all have yours?
Yep.
Okay, so I'll just go first. I have my best 11. I have Alison as my keeper, Trent at right back, Virgil as it would be right center back, Diaz as left center back, and Cancelo at left back. Conte and Rodri as my holdings, as my kind of holding midfielders in a way, but obviously Conte can push up a little bit with Rodri staying a little bit more back as defensive, and then De Bruyne as my attacking midfielder. Then we got Salah on the right, Kane in the middle, and Saka on the left. Saka's there to create a little bit more creativity from the wing, as Salah is much more of a goal scorer. And while Kane can create, I like the idea of him and this team being able to not necessarily be a poacher, but stay a little bit closer to the box while still dropping deep whatever he wants. Whoever wants to go next, you're welcome.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll go mine. Or unless Christian, do you want to?
You can go ahead.
Okay. So I actually have a little bit of a different looking team here. I have Edison as my goalkeeper instead of Alison. I think us three have Trent and Virgil van Dijk, so that's not really and Ruben Diaz actually, so that doesn't shock me. Good choices by us three, of course, and Cancelo. Or actually, no, Christian has Andrew Robertson instead of Cancelo at left back. For my holding mid, I'm playing a 4-3-3 with a holding mid. I have N'Golo Kante. I still think that although Chelsea have been up and down this year, I still think that at his best, he just fits a 4-3-3 as a holding mid better than anybody else does. His ability to track back and play outlet balls and create something for the offensive attack is so crucial, and I think he's a master at that. My midfield has Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo a little further up from Conte as my center mids. And then on my attack, I have Riyad Mahrez on the right, Harry Kane down the middle, and Mohamed Salah playing a little bit out of position on the left. So that's my best 11.
Yeah, and then for me, like Max mentioned, we all have the same back four besides the goalkeeper. And then so I took Alison, Trent, Virgil van Dijk, Ruben Diaz, and then the one alternative to Joe and Max was Andrew Robertson versus João Cancelo. Very torn on those two. Could have gone either way. And then in the midfield three, as it's listed, I would actually have Fabinho as the 6, and then Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva as the 8s. I think you can go with one of 3 6s, really, maybe even 4 if you want to throw Declan Rice in there, maybe. I'm sure some people could argue him. And then for front three, I think Salah's been, by and large, the best player in the Premier League this season. He's kind of taken a dip. Joe's been pretty adamant about that. But still, he's probably the best right winger in the league at the moment. I think Jota's been probably the best striker across the whole season so far. I know both of you have Kane, but Jota's had, I think, over 20 goals in all competitions. And then I went with a bit of a different one. I know Joe mentioned who would you want on your team, and I think off of what I've seen so far from him, I think Luis Diaz is certainly going to replace Sadio Mane, who I think will eventually leave Liverpool. I just think Diaz has been excellent ever since he's come in from Porto in January. So if I needed somebody to play that left wing position and he's a natural left winger, I would take Diaz.
I think I'll be honest with you, Christian. I think the spot where I disagree the most is Diaz. I'm not saying Diaz is not a world-class player, but I just think the fact that he's only been in the Prem for like a couple months doesn't justify him in best 11. Actually, I love your midfield. I think Fabinho, you could definitely make an argument for as like a holding mid in a midfield trio. But I just think N'Golo Kante's ability to track back. I mean, we saw it throughout the Champions League run for Chelsea last year, is the differentiator there. And also, I think, although Kane kind of bottles it in big games, I think Harry Kane is just a far better player than Diogo Jota.
Yeah.
In all aspects. So I think for me, Harry Kane has to be on that best 11 regardless. And that's where I disagree, because I think Salah, no questions asked, has to be on there. The back four, with the exception of Robertson, and I'm not going to question that. Robertson has been excellent as a left back throughout the year. But yeah, I think for me, Jota and Diaz really shouldn't be on there. Alison is debatable, but I mean, he's been a great goalkeeper throughout his time at Liverpool, so I can't really disagree too much.
So I'll tell you what my concern is with Christians. I also disagree with Diaz, but I kind of just because I don't really know how he's going to help. I don't know. Like, he's a great dribbler, but like we haven't seen too much end product, but neither too much creativity with him yet. So he's a great ball progressor. I don't know how well he's going to be in the final third yet completely. Obviously, he's shown flashes. But my concern is with the midfield. I feel like, and even with Max's a little bit too, with the right backs, with the fullbacks who press up, I'm a little concerned there's not going to be enough defensive stability there. We know Trent is not, I don't want to say a liability in defense, but he's definitely not.
He's still concerned. He's definitely improved that aspect, but yeah.
But with two attacking midfielders and leaving Conte and Fabinho too, just alone, I don't know. I feel like there's almost not enough defensive cover there. That's just my take.
Because the thing is, I think you're also coming at it from a like Antonio Conte Spursy system, and I think you have to realize that like City and Liverpool play like that. And they're very successful playing like this. And the reason why they are is because they have such technical players in the midfield that they very rarely lose the ball. But even if they do, I mean, you trust N'Golo Kante to get there and track back. You also trust Virgil van Dijk and Ruben Diaz, assuming Ruben Diaz is healthy in this universe, to be able to contest those. So I think there's more than enough cover, and either Alison or Edison can play as a sweeper keeper. Yeah. So they could continue, moving up should the defenders, lose track of their defenders. So I think, again, I don't blame you at all because I know you're a Spurs supporter, but I just think you're underrating the technical ability of these teams and their ability to hold possession.
Yeah. Christian, do you have anything else?
I think for me, and I understand your point on both Jota and Diaz for sure. I think just based off what Joe, I guess, said to us when we first were like, all right, let's put these out, was, who would you want in your team? And I think, if you look across the whole season, I think Mahrez gets in for me over Diaz in that scenario, if we're just talking about the whole season. But I understand the Kane argument as well. I think he's a much better player than Jota. That's not the question. But in terms of what I was looking at with him, I think it's just the product of work for the whole season, because obviously Kane had a tough start, and right now I would say he's in the best form of his season at the moment, Joe. I think you would agree on that.
Absolutely.
So I think right now I would take Kane too, but I guess I looked at Jota across the whole, I guess, whatever, 6-7 months of the season so far. But yeah, I can totally understand where you guys are coming on from those.
And also, I guess since we're at it, although this is not really as much of an issue as some of the other ones for me, you guys both have Alison, I have Edison. Tell me why Alison over Edison.
I like his shot-stopping ability a little bit better than Edison. I rate Edison's ability on the ball slightly better, but I don't think Alison's ability on the ball is so much of a decline where I would put Edison over him.
Yeah, I think it's personal preference. I think both keepers are world class. you really can't go wrong. I would agree with Joe. I think it's the shot stopping ability. I mean, Ederson's an elite ball progressor out of the back. I mean, that's not a question. So I think it's just personal preference.
I think Edison has the bozo gene in him sometimes, but I don't
Well,
know.
but don't forget, because Max mentioned this a couple weeks ago, Alison's had it this season too.
This is true.
Where he's made some errors in the back as well.
Edison.
So
they're both mistake prone because that's just the way that they play. They're very aggressive from their goal, especially in starting the attack. Now,
which is good, which is what we want. Which is
exactly what we want. But the thing is, that's going to lead to the occasional mistake, regardless of who you pick between these two. But the thing is, with me, I look at Edison, and yes, I know I'm a City fan, so I'm looking at it probably from a different lens, but he has been the Golden Boot the Golden Glove winner the past 2 seasons. And I'm not sure what the defensive stats are looking like, but he might be on track to do the same this year. So to me, I think Ederson deserves it a little bit more than Alison right now in terms of current form. But again, I'm just nitpicking. I don't really think Alison is as debatable as, say, like I mentioned, like Jota over Kane, for example.
Yeah. So I think that'll wrap up our discussion on there. Remember, vote in the poll underneath the tweet that shows the list on my Twitter. It's JCamo4. So and at the end of the show,
Max, by the way, they are both have 17 clean sheets.
That is awesome.
And then the next highest is Ramsdale at 12. So that really kind of shows where the defensives are.
Well, definitely, I guess we're definitely picking from the best two for sure.
Yep.
So so after the at the end of the show, we will obviously look at the results of who the public thinks has the best 11. So moving on, Liverpool City. I'm gonna be a boxing ref here and let these two duke it out. So who wants to take the first blow?
I'll let Christian take the first blow.
Sure. I mean, for me, this is the biggest game of the season. This feels like the game in 18-19 when Leroy Sané scored the winner. This feels a lot like that. And I know before the show, me and Max were kind of talking about what this could end up being like. I think it can go one of 3 ways. It can be a draw or either team can win. I think all 3 are in potential scenario. I think the biggest thing for Liverpool is going to be the defensive structure. We always see, like Max mentioned before, that we see Ruben Diaz, Virgil van Dijk get left on their own to defend one-on-one in the back. And I think not only will it be important to stay structured for Liverpool, it's also going to be interesting to see who Klopp plays next to Virgil. Does he play Konate? Does he play Matip? I don't really know. I think either deserve a chance to start. But with Alexander-Arnold fit now, he'll have both first-choice fullbacks. So it's really going to be a full, best 11 for Liverpool. That's not really a question. I wouldn't be surprised if Henderson plays, but I also don't think it would be the worst idea to see Henderson be dropped and play 2 more progressive 8s who are better on the ball. And then the other major question mark is, of course, Mo Salah, who's been struggling as of late, hasn't been getting the goal contributions. Can he pick it up for this game? I assume he will start. I don't think there's a scenario where he is dropped. But, I mean, for me right now, there's a lot of nerves. It's going to be a very interesting game. I think it could go either way. But, right now I would lean towards a draw, but I could certainly see all 3 results coming in hand.
I think that's fair. To kind of tackle it from a City perspective, they're coming off a really, really, really important win against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League. If you guys watched that game, I will admit it was a snooze fest if you're neutral because Atletico played the 5-5, the classic 5-5-0 formation, no attacking intent, and they just dropped back. But honestly, respect to them for doing that. A lot of people hate on it. They're just going kind of on a tangent here. But I think it made a lot of sense going against City. And if it wasn't for the individual brilliance of Phil Foden and Kevin De Bruyne, City would not have been able to find a breakthrough. So credit to them. But I thought that was a very important win for momentum going into this game because you never know what the expectation is with Liverpool. I think obviously we know that Liverpool's not going to be playing a 5-5-0 like Atletico, but we don't know. They might, like you were suggesting, Christian, change their shape a little bit to not include Henderson. Are they going to put in Diogo Jota? Is Firmino going to be in the mix? Where is Luis Diaz going to be in here? The attack could go all different types of directions. Are they going to integrate Sadio Mane and Salah? I think they both have to start for Liverpool. But then the question is, does Luis Diaz then start? Does Jota start? So those could pose real differences for the way that Liverpool intend to attack for different reasons. And I think City need to be ready for that. But my biggest concern with City is actually the defensive structure, considering that Ruben Diaz is not playing this game. If it's anything like they played in the Champions League, and this is how they've been playing for the past couple games, it'll probably look like Nathan Ake playing as a left back with Stones and Laporte as the center backs, and obviously João Cancelo playing his natural position at right back. But I think now with Kyle Walker not having played in the Champions League, Kyle Walker will be back in the fold. So I think I take that back. It will look like Cancelo on the left, Walker on the right, Stones and Laporte in the middle. But the question is, what version of Stones and Laporte are we going to get? And I think at their best, they could play to Liverpool. They could play against Liverpool and do well. Obviously, we know the goal line clearance of John Stones against Liverpool in the 18-19 season. That was such an important moment for City. But my biggest concern really isn't with him. It's more so Laporte. Is Laporte going to make decisions? Is Laporte going to stay defensively capable of stopping Liverpool's dynamic attack? He's been okay recently, but he's had pretty shaky form as of late. So I get very concerned with him. With regard to the City attack, I think you need to start Phil Foden. No questions asked. You need to start Phil Foden.
Real quick, Max. I almost put Foden in my team. I
was very close to putting Foden in my team too.
I didn't know where I would put him though. I was thinking about maybe putting him on the left wing, but I wasn't sure if I should put him in the midfield. I wasn't sure where to put him.
Left wing. I would say left wing is his natural position. So I think if you're going to put him anywhere, it's the left wing. For me, it was a debate. You're going to call me crazy, but I think I ended up picking the right guy. It was going to be either him or Salah, but I had to pick Salah.
Yeah.
And Salah had to be in the team. But Phil Foden for me, if I could do it again, I would have to seriously debate putting him in the team. But regardless, like we saw it in the Champions League tie. Phil Foden needs to start against Liverpool. Phil Foden is a Mancunian. He understands the significance of this rivalry, and he's had success against Liverpool in the past. I would start him over Raheem Sterling, no questions asked. No questions asked to start him over Raheem Sterling. Raheem Sterling usually gets shaky against Liverpool. I don't want to see that on the pitch tomorrow. I don't want to see players that second-guess themselves. I don't want to see players that get nervous because the opposing fans are going to be loud and jeer against him. Get him off. Play him later if you want him, but do not start him tomorrow. I do not want to see him on the pitch tomorrow. I want to see Phil Foden. I want to see Riyad Mahrez. And then I want to see any combination of, it could be Phil Foden down the middle. It could be Riyad Mahrez. Well, Riyad Mahrez is going to be on the right, but it could be Phil Foden down the middle with maybe Jack Grealish potentially. They're going to obviously talk about starting Sterling. Again, I don't want Sterling on the pitch. Long story short, I don't want Sterling on the pitch. I would much rather see Jack Grealish on the left with Phil Foden as a false nine than see Raheem Sterling against Liverpool. Midfield is going to look like it's always looked. It's going to be Bernardo, Kevin De Bruyne, and Rodri. No questions asked. But in terms of a prediction, I know I've gone a little long here. For me, I am inching towards a draw. I think it's going to be a draw, to be honest with you. But I think advantage City, considering that it's a home game, considering that City have the lead, and that's no disrespect to Liverpool. I mean, Liverpool are more than capable of getting a result. But I think the fact that it's a City home game really helps them, because I think if this was in Anfield, I would be very nervous. If this was a game, given this context, if this was in Anfield, I would be very nervous. So the fact that this is at the Etihad is advantage City 100%. But I'm going to lean draw. I think draw is the most favorable result. Not favorable, sorry, the most likely result for this game, in my opinion.
I kind of feel the same way. I think these teams are so evenly matched. And no disrespect to City or Max, but the Etihad isn't really a
they'll be loud tomorrow. Listen, they'll be loud tomorrow. I promise you that.
It's not the hardest place to play. Now there's Anfield, but that's another conversation in its own. Anfield's not serious, but it's not Tottenham Hotspur.
Max, you think away at Turf Moor is the toughest game to play?
This is true.
Look, Joe,
I know Tottenham tried to go to Turf Moor and they got beat by hoofball.
Joe, before I let you continue, I have to say that when City and Liverpool play each other, regardless of where they play, the crowd's always going to show up.
I cannot wait for this game. Like, I don't know if I'm going to go to a bar and watch the game, or I'm just going to watch it in my apartment with Jacob. But
Come on, you gotta watch. You gotta watch it with Jacob, man.
Well, we might go to Bunny's.
Either way, you gotta watch with him.
It's a Liverpool bar, Christian. It's a Liverpool bar.
I don't have the luxury.
I don't even know who I'm rooting for. I'm so neutral in this game. I think I'm leaning City, rooting interest wise, because I don't think I want to see Liverpool win the quadruple.
I know you don't.
Do you realize how insufferable Christian will be if they win the quadruple? God.
I'm not even worried about Christian more than I am worried about like just the entire Liverpool fan base on Twitter.
I'm not even that bad.
He's really not. I don't think he's that bad.
But we do it for bands. But, but yeah, this game is going to be so good. You guys make great points. I really don't know because the teams are just so evenly matched up. They play the exact same brand of football. It's like if you could like just recreate the team, like if you switch teams, like if you just switch the City team and put them in red tomorrow and put the Liverpool team in blue, like you're not really gonna be able to tell the difference. It's gonna be the same thing, you know. So
I think. Go ahead.
I think it's going to be a draw. I think we're going to see another I really think this is going to be like that 18-19 game where I think Sane scored the winner and they got that goal line clearance that Max mentioned earlier. I could totally see that just being the exact same game because I think both teams, I don't want to say they're going to be playing scared, but they're not going to want to open themselves up too much because how close it is. It's a 1 point difference. You don't want to open yourself up too much and then all of a sudden kind of get beat on a counter or something like that. So I think maybe this game ends up going whoever has the best defense, and it really depends on the lineups. But I feel like I'd lean towards Liverpool on that one because I think you could argue that Fabinho is the best six in the world right now, and then Virgil's Virgil, and without Diaz and City, I think you can honestly make that argument. So maybe I'm leaning Liverpool. I don't know. I'll go draw. I'll go 2-2 draw. That's the my prediction.
And the other thing to mention is I don't know, Max, you might have some knowledge on this too. I think the last time Liverpool beat City at the Etihad in the league was 15-16. I remember taking a look at it, but it's been a while. So it's not like it's an easy place to go for Liverpool, let alone anybody else in the league or Europe. So Liverpool would have to do something pretty special tomorrow to win, point blank. But yeah, I think we're all in the same.
I think that applies to both teams, to be honest with you. I mean, like you said, they're very evenly matched. Do you think we have enough time for this? And again, if not, it's totally fine. I just thought of this. Like, what if we just did like a combined best 11 for these two teams?
Let's do it. You know what the soccer sit-down show is? We just talk, and wherever it leads, we go.
Are you guys down? We could do this pretty quickly, I think.
Let's let it fly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is okay. I'm already going to go to a point of contention. I have Edison over Alison. You guys have Alison over Edison. So
I'll be the tiebreaker here. You guys go. I'll be the tiebreaker.
I'm going to stay with where I was.
I have Edison.
You guys know I'm going Alison. So
okay, so we'll do Alison. I think no questions asked. We have Trent on the right. I think Ruben Diaz and Virgil van Dijk make a lot of sense down the middle. I personally have João Cancelo.
You want to do without Ruben in the scenario that he's not available?
Okay, fine, fair enough. We'll do without Ruben. So I think Virgil van Dijk's there, no questions asked. I still think that Stones and Laporte are better than Matip or Konate. So for me, I would say, oh man, that's tough. Maybe Virgil van Dijk and Stones, because we know that Stones can play in a partnership as the second best center back and be really successful. We saw it last year with Ruben Diaz. So for me, I like Virgil van Dijk and John Stones.
I can get behind that.
I'm with that too. And then
for me, I have Cancelo as a left back, no questions asked.
Yeah, that I'm beat there, so I'll concede that.
And then the midfield trio. Oh, okay, point of contention: Fabinho or Rodri. I think Rodri has been the better DM all season, but again, it's a tough one for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can go either way there. Joe, you had Rodri in yours, so I'm going to assume you're going to stay there.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think Fabinho might be a little bit better. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with my guy.
I'm not going to hate it either way, to be honest with you.
I go back and forth on Rodri or Fabinho like almost every day. So
I would say Fabinho, but
I'm going to go Fabinho today.
Right, we'll do Fabinho. I think De Bruyne and Bernardo have to be the attacking
perfectly fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the attack, I think you have to have because then it goes into like my attack that I had on the best 11. Salah has to be on the pitch, no questions asked. So Salah is on there.
Foden, false 9, Mahrez on the wing.
Oh, I don't hate that at all, actually. I like Foden as a
Oh.
false 9, and then you have Mahrez has to play on the right. Like, I know Salah has to play on the right, but like Mahrez is literally incapable of playing on the left.
Unless you can get cheeky, right? And say, drop Salah for Mane because Mane has better form right now.
Well, you also could. I mean, this hasn't been. They don't do it a lot, but you could always just play Foden off the left and Salah down the middle. He's done that before.
No,
You could do that, I guess.
Well,
But
if you
the
don't
thing
want
is,
to
Phil
complicate,
Foden-
then we
Phil
probably should
Foden-
take one of them out.
I think Mahrez has to be on there, and I think Salah has to be on there. That's just me.
We can work with that. I think we can work with that.
No, Christian, fight me back. If you don't think so, tell me.
Oh no, I think Mahrez right now is probably in better form. So you can make a case that Salah shouldn't be in there. But if you're looking at the whole face of the whole season, I think Salah has been better. But so I think
No, I'm not, and this is I'm saying Mahrez in addition to Salah. Like Salah has to be on there, no questions asked. But also Mahrez has to be on there, no questions asked.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I guess if you're asking to take one off, I would take Mahrez off.
I would take Mahrez off too, just because I think that Salah's overall a better player. But again, Mahrez has had an incredible stretch of form recently. Yeah. But again, I think there's a way you can bring them both into the lineup. You see what I'm saying? Like, to me, Salah is the most undroppable asset of that attack, and I'll concede that. But at the same time, I think Mahrez has to be on there as well because Mahrez has just been incredible. He's City's leading goal scorer, for example. So I think if there's a way we could put in Mahrez and Salah, and for me, I just think I did Phil Foden so wrong in not including him in my 11 that I have to include him in this 11 for me. But if you disagree on that, I'm open to hearing what you have.
And I think this is a bit of a tangent, but go ahead, Joe.
I think you run into a big problem here if you go with the front three of Jota, Salah, and Mahrez, or the whole Liverpool front three of Jota, Salah, and Mane. I don't think you have enough creativity up front. I think you have way too many goals and assist guys who don't really.
I mean,
with the midfield you got,
I would argue that's not necessarily true because it works for Liverpool.
Yeah,
but at the same time, Joe, like if you have a midfield of Fabinho, De Bruyne, and Bernardo Silva, you don't really need a lot of creativity up front.
I don't know. I think you need a Foden in there. I think you.
I agree with that.
I agree. Foden's going to be huge tomorrow. Like he was big in the reverse fixture. Of course, he was facing Milner at right back. But
I'll tell you right now, if Pep doesn't start Foden, which I'm pretty confident he probably will start Foden. If he doesn't start Foden, I'm going to be so pissed off. That'll be an all-time mistake, like not starting Rodri in the Champions League final. Like that's how important Foden is tomorrow for me.
Never forget when I called that, by the way.
I was really hoping you'd be wrong, but yeah, I know he has a history of that. I know.
Yeah, Foden might be the most important player for you tomorrow, Max. I'm pretty confident.
No, it's Rodri. It's Rodri.
I don't know. I think you can make a case for Foden. I think he's that important tomorrow.
He's the most. Okay, how about this? Rodri is the most important for City's defensive stability, but for the attack and creativity, although De Bruyne's going to be at his A game because De Bruyne always shows up in big games. Knock on wood. But Foden, I think, is the most important asset of the City attack. No questions asked.
Yep.
Tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah. I think defensively you need to stop Liverpool.
And I think considering Ruben Diaz,
Rodri will be very important.
Fair point.
So what do we come to the?
I'll do Foden. Foden on the left. Sorry, Christian, you're the Liverpool guy. How bad is Salah on the left? Have you even seen?
I don't know. I don't know the last time I saw him on the left.
Okay, so then for that reason, we'll do Salah down the middle and then Foden on the left, Mahrez on the right. How does that sound?
I'm with it.
Okay.
So let's move on to some UCL talk here. I think the first thing we have to talk about is Madrid and Benzema just absolutely throttling Chelsea Football Club and probably sending them out after getting revenge from last year. And this was at the Bridge too. Next one's at the Bernabeu. It looking very long for Chelsea Football Club. So Christian, I'm gonna kick it to you first here.
Yeah, I don't think you can make a case for Chelsea to go get that kind of a result on the road. I mean, they're up 3-0 right now in the league, but they are playing Southampton away. But, I mean, that's nothing compared to Real Madrid. And right now, I mean, Benzema is the best player in La Liga. He's one of the best strikers in the world at the moment. And, I mean, just the way that Chelsea gave the goals as a team that's been excellent defensively over the last 12 months under Thomas Tuchel. That was a game where they just fell apart time and time again. And yeah, I mean, considering the way Real Madrid played there, the way they played against PSG in the second leg, especially with all the goals they would end up getting, I don't think there's any way back for Chelsea here. I think their Champions League run is going to be over next week or whenever the game, or I don't know when the reverse fixture is. It might be next week. Yeah, so I see no way back. I think, I assume Real Madrid will win the game as well and comfortably get through to the semifinal. I don't really see any way for Chelsea to figure this one out.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the fact that this first leg was at Chelsea and this happened at the Bridge is a really, really, really bad look for Chelsea, and it just doesn't bode well for their chances in the Bernabeu. I think Chelsea could be one of those where Chelsea gets a result of the Bernabeu, like say like a 1-0 or a 1-1, but obviously that's not enough to win the tie. I think their chances. I mean, if the manager himself, like you said, Christian, if Thomas Tuchel is coming out publicly and saying we don't have a chance to make it, and I know he's trying to pull a Mourinho and try to motivate the players, but to me, you can't, as a manager, have language like that. You got to always think you have a chance. You can't, even if you're trying to pull a Mourinho and try to motivate the players, you can't go out publicly and saying we have no chance to make it through, because then the players may actually have a reverse effect, and the players may actually think you know what, the manager's right, we don't have a chance, and you can't.
And I saw when Ben said that against the Chiefs, said we're not going to have a chance, and we get smoked by what? Almost
Well,
30?
that's a bit of a different scenario.
No, but it's the same context, like,
Yeah.
But I think Benzema, I mean, he is the most informed player on the planet right now. He has had back-to-back hack tricks in the Champions League in 2 games that you could argue they were not favored in. Like the PSG second leg, PSG had a 2-0 advantage, and then Benzema goes crazy in the second half of that second leg, and they end up winning the tie. No one expected them to do that. Chelsea, maybe the Brentford game kind of hurt Chelsea's odds of winning that game going into the Madrid match. I mean, it's at the Bridge. Chelsea are the Champions League winners. People had expectations for Chelsea this year in the Champions League. People didn't really have expectations for Madrid. So for that reason, I still think that Madrid were not favored. So for Benzema to literally carry Madrid on his back these past 2 stages of the Champions League, I mean, he is incredible. I mean, he's the most informed. He's the best player on the planet right now in terms of form. No questions asked. For me.
I agree. I mean, I just don't like. My thing is for Chelsea, right? Who do they have on attack who can make up a 3-0 deficit?
It should be
Lukaku.
Lukaku.
Best player. Lukaku is awful. He's stinky. He should be playing somewhere else because he's at the point where he needs to be. He can't start. He can't start. He's not good enough to start. That might be the worst piece of transfer business past summer. And I don't even think it's close. $100 million or pounds for a player who can't even break your starting lineup because he's so bad. Actively wanted out within 6 months. Like, come on. Yeah, Madrid's running through this tie. They really just got to, not capitulate, and I don't really think they will. So let's move on to Liverpool beat Benfica 3-1. I mean, Luis Diaz played great that game. I mean, I think we all know Liverpool's going through on this one, right?
Yeah, I mean, especially considering the first leg was in Portugal. Yeah, I don't see Benfica going to Anfield and getting enough of a result to win Obviously down 2 goals already, so they would have to win by 2 to send it to extra time. And then, of course, I mean, the one thing for them, though, is they were able to do that against Ajax. I don't know what the tie looked at going into the second leg, but they have a guy in Darwin Nunez who has 21 goals in league play. He's been excellent for them. So, I mean, they have the threats, but they would need a lot to go their way at Anfield to get the result they need. So, yeah, I mean, I think Liverpool goes through as well.
I think, yeah, I agree. I think Liverpool were the favorites going into that for a reason. I think you would favor them over any Portuguese side at this stage of the competition. I think the result speaks for itself, and you expect Liverpool to comfortably make it through to the semifinals.
Yeah, I mean, I think Liverpool's probably. I think it's gonna be a Liverpool-Man City final.
I honestly, like I said it before the show, I really think that's what it's looking like, honestly. And again, I can't even be that. I can't say that definitively because if Benzema keeps playing the way he's playing and they end up drawing City, because City will be playing Madrid in the semifinal. City ends up beating Atleti, assuming that Madrid beat Chelsea too. I mean, it seems like Benzema scoring against anybody. And so City could dominate the game, or City could dominate possession all game. But if Benzema is on that scoring streak, that's an equalizer. So I think Liverpool are in a much more comfortable position than City.
Oh no, I know what Joe's I know what Joe saw.
Arsenal's losing to Brighton right now.
Really?
They're losing 1-0 to Brighton
at the Emirates. Joe, I'd be careful because you still play today. You haven't won yet.
I don't care. It's Brighton. It's Brighton.
Hey, Graham Potter's an elite manager. We know this. Come on.
This is insane. This is insane.
Joe's living his best life over here.
Arsenal, what are you doing?
Dude, I can't. What is Arsenal doing? If Arsenal, okay, can we say this definitively? If Arsenal don't manage to get top 4 this year and they choke like they pull a Leicester this year and choke, Arteta's gone.
No.
You don't think so?
I still don't think so. No, I don't think so.
If I were Arsenal, can I tell you what I would do? I'm going completely off the cuff here. I said this to my buddy who's a United fan about City. Okay, I can't say what I told him definitively I would do with regard to Ten Hag because it's not ethical in the slightest for City, and I'm not going to say that publicly, but I will tell you guys after the show. But if I were Arsenal, if I would fire Arteta and do everything in my power to overpay for Ten Hag so that he doesn't go to United, and because I think if you have a team full of youngsters, that's what he's a master at, is developing young players. So why not? He'd be the perfect manager for Arsenal. Pay him whatever he wants. If he wants 35 million a year, 35 million a year. I'm not even kidding.
I don't know. They're going to keep Arteta because of how well he performed for a few months. I can't lie. They're going to keep him. But I mean, also, to be fair, they don't have Party. They don't have Tierney. I think they're missing someone else.
Yeah, Granit Xhaka is playing left back today.
You've got to get a result against Brighton, dude. I mean, come on.
At home.
At home.
They need to play Saka at left back. Put Saka back there. That's his original position.
They really don't like Tavares then.
Tavares sucks.
Yeah, Tavares has been pretty bad.
All right, let's get back to UCL talk. I'm sorry.
You needed to get on a tangent for a couple minutes.
Just give me Arsenal tears. Give me the Arsenal tears.
Listen, long story short, City Liverpool final in the Champions League is looking really likely.
Absolutely, and especially because Bayern lost to Villarreal. Unai Emery, good evening. Guess he gets the win.
Good evening. Good evening indeed, except for Gerard Moreno, who's selfish. But we won't get.
Maybe we need to talk a little bit about this guy Julian Nagelsmann. Maybe he's not serious, which I said almost over a year ago, Christian, in one of our group chats.
Yeah, Joe's been saying that because when there was the links for him to Spurs, Joe took that away immediately. So
Joe was not a fan of that link at all.
He plays too high of a line. I'm telling you, he's not a serious manager. He gets ran through by serious prep. He got ran through by Manchester United last year. I don't trust this guy at all.
He did?
Yeah,
remember
he did.
Oh, when he was at Leipzig, yeah.
Okay, but you have to also realize that,
That's
like,
Leipzig, though.
I mean, actually, to be fair, I mean, they shouldn't be losing to Villarreal under any. Okay, you want me to show you guys something? This is, again, I'm going kind of off the cuff. I found this stat the other day. I'll show you guys. Villarreal's recent run of form in both the Champions League and in the league. I don't know if I have the tweet pulled up. Give me 1 second here. I'm sorry. Because this will further validate what Joe's alluding to here. Here we go. Look at this picture, guys. Okay. Do you see that? Beat Juve 3-0, lose to Cadiz and Levante 2-0 and 1-0, and then they beat Bayern Munich.
Unai is a great manager in playoff games and ties.
It makes no sense.
Of course, the one final he loses, it's when he managed Arsenal. No drama though.
By the way,
Joe's
they're not
going
even
all
in a
today,
European
huh?
spot right now.
What'd you say?
They're not even in a European spot right now in Spain. They're in
They're
seventh.
gonna win the Champions League. They're gonna knock off Liverpool next week.
I seriously think they can go to the Allianz Arena and do enough to survive.
Yeah.
They,
I do too.
I would say that
I mean,
if
I would
Rodri
buy
Moreno passed the ball, they would have gone up 2-0.
Yeah, that's the big thing though, because they should have got out of that leg up by more than a goal. And I mean, they could get a draw at the Allianz Arena. I wouldn't be surprised. I would assume Bayern goes through.
I don't know. But
I
finally,
would
let's
take
wrap up
Bayern, but
UCL.
I don't know.
Let's wrap up UCL. Atletico played absolute horrific ball and still lost to City. Good prevailed over evil. Max, what do you have to say about that?
You're going to call me crazy. I actually grinned when I saw Atletico still manage to keep it level going into and obviously I'm a City fan, okay? As a soccer fan, I grinned seeing that Atleti was able to keep City at bay into the late second half because although it's evil,
It's
works.
tactical. It's smart.
Brilliant.
It's a smart tactic.
It was going to be a Simeone masterclass if it wasn't for the individual brilliance of Phil Foden and Kevin De Bruyne. Seriously. And so, we hate it. It's not entertaining, but if I were Atleti, I mean, you're going against arguably the best team in the world. Do you really blame them for doing that?
Especially on the road too. But I mean, then again, he'd do the same thing at home.
And the thing is, they're going to take this result because now it's only a one goal
They can
deficit.
make no away goals too. So
no away goals.
Yes, exactly.
So think about it. They're very much in this tie.
yeah.
I mean, think about it. They got the same result that PSG or that Real Madrid got when they played at the Parc des Princes in the round of 16. I mean, they look very different, but still, I mean, sure, Manchester City is by and large the better team, more talented. They should go through. But the fact that they're only down 1 goal, I mean, they have a lifeline. They're right there. So,
but my question now becomes, and I agree with that. My question now becomes, if Atleti need to, assuming they don't try to get their goals off, or their goal to equalize in the tie off a set piece, for example, they're going to have to break shape to go score a goal.
Yep.
Will they then get caught by a City counterattack and then fold? That's the question. What do you do if you're Simeone? Do you go out and attack early on or do you sit back throughout the game, try to keep it at 1-0, and then try to attack at the end of the game? I mean, what do you do?
I think you go out. You got to make.
I think you got to go out right away. But you probably won't.
Yeah, I'd be stunned if he does. Honestly, I think keeping shape might make a lot of sense early on. Get rid of the nerves, the anxiety in the beginning, and then maybe towards the end of the game. I don't know. It's tough because I could see your guys' point. It's tough. I don't know.
I
think
you can make
City
a case
goes
for
through either
both.
way.
So,
But at least we have a few good games for the UCL because we know 2 of them aren't going to be good, and then we got 2 good ones. So we'll be back.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that. I mean, I think Benfica can really give them problems. They did in the first leg. I mean, I mean, sure, Liverpool should go through comfortably, but
please stop being humble. Liverpool is going to run through them again. Stop.
hey, if you're gonna speak for me, then be my
I
guest.
will speak for you.
I'm speaking for the other side.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's move on here to our last topic. Everton Football Club gets a huge win today, and I have a little image for you guys.
Max.
The Ronaldo ghost. Well, the ghost session from Ronnie.
My goodness, Joe.
CR37. And can Frank Lampard, after a horrific loss to TWSN Soccer Sit-Down Show favorite Sean Dyche and Burnley after 3-2 loss, can he actually stay up? Can he do it? They are
TWSN soccer icon, Sean Dyche.
Yeah, I think you can't really sell it short, Joe.
Oh, let's see. Let's see the table right now. They have 4 points clear of Everton. Burnley have a game in hand. I mean, they're 4 points clear of Burnley, and they have a game in hand. Burnley play Norwich tomorrow, so they can make it up. Wow. It really looked like Everton was going to go down after that loss. And now it flipped upside down. I'm telling you.
The power of United's ability to bottle games is bigger than Everton's ability to possibly get in the drop zone.
Of course, the one big game that they had was against us, of course, when Ronaldo had a hat-trick after Messi stinker. Of course. I'm telling you, football is scripted. Football is scripted.
No. Spurs they love getting beat by Man United, but they love beating City for some reason. It makes no sense whatsoever. It makes zero sense.
We did the double over City this year with
I know
different managers. We had Nuno in the first leg.
It makes no
and the
sense.
second one we had Conte.
This is, by the way, you could thank Spurs in part for letting this game be such high stakes.
Oh no,
Yeah.
Spurs get
I mean-
most of the credit. I mean, they have 2 of the 3 losses.
It makes
Yeah,
no
the other
sense, guys.
one was
What is
Palace.
this? Crystal Palace, what? Beat City
They-
and drew with them?
Yep, they took 4 points off City this year. So I
They're
can think
powerhouse.
Palace and Spurs. That's it.
Dude, they're good, man. When they lose Gallagher, they should just do everything in their power to just even if they can't
They
afford
beat
to stick out
Arsenal last week.
Yeah,
Dude, that was, by the way, that was
they
Patrick Vieira.
dominated that game.
Yeah.
That was a Vieira
Arsenal
match.
equalizer, by the way.
Oh.
Joe's down bad
Martinelli.
now.
No, no. Oh, no. Not him.
What?
Who scored? Who
I'll
scored?
take a draw.
Who scored, Christian?
Martinelli.
Oh, Martinelli. Better
Right
than
before
Neymar.
halftime.
Honest to God, I'll take a draw in this game.
What's that? Better than Neymar? Oh, wait, what?
Relax.
What?
We don't
What?
do
Did I
drama
hear
on
that?
the show,
You
Max.
guys hear something?
Max, we don't do any drama on the show. What are you doing? Never any drama. Never.
I'm sorry. Okay, I don't agree with that, but I just had to throw that out there. No response from Joe.
Just dead silence.
We don't want to. We're not. We try to keep the show drama free. Max goes talking about some.
Listen, I just heard a voice. I don't know where that came from.
Was it the ghost of Ronaldo in your ear?
That was the That was the ghost of.
Anyway, go Sean Dyche, man. Please send Everton down. Like, you realize how funny that would be?
That would be hilarious. Sean Dyche, that would be the greatest Sean Dyche achievement ever, I guess. Christian, you know what? You would be a Sean Dyche guy after that, right?
Oh, I'll go buy a Burnley jersey.
Dude,
Woo, Weghorst.
love to hear that.
You're a big Weghorst guy. You love those German league players.
He's
You
I thought
love,
you
you
were
love
Germany.
the Bundesliga,
Sucks.
Christian de Black. Christian de Black loves the Bundesliga. Then they all
I'm
flop.
always praying for a league title race, but that never happens.
You also thought Werner was going to be the next big thing, right? But you know what? That's a smidgen of drama. Right there. Smidge.
Because we're a drama-free show, is Matt Doherty better than Emerson Royale?
He's better than Cafu. What are we talking about here?
Okay, good. Okay.
He's
Drama-free.
He's the greatest wingback to ever exist. Like, let's be honest here.
Is Emerson
He
Royale?
scored a goal last week, by the way. He
Huh?
scored a goal last week.
Did he?
Emerson Royale.
I thought
That is-
I thought you said Doherty scored, but
Both
No.
of them did. Both of them. Did.
what?
Both of them
No,
scored
I know
last
that
week.
one. This is news to me.
Yeah. Newcastle, man. Eddie Howe. Terrible footballers over today.
I mean, hey, credit to him. They were down. They were 10 points from safety, I think.
By the
when
way,
it came to the
VAR's
job.
checking the goal, by the way, for Martinelli.
Oh, well.
I don't know why, but
I just remember the video of Joe seeing VAR.
VAR, my lord, VAR. What a day! What a day!
Man.
We're not ending the show till we find out if this is a good goal or not.
We'll be here all
We
day.
need a live celebration from Joe. Ruled out.
No goal.
Let's go! He's a fraud! He's a fraud! He's a fraud!
That's
Just like
crazy.
Arteta. Get Arsenal out of here! Get Arsenal out of here! But let's look at the before we wrap up here. We're gonna look at the results for the best soccer 11. I got 67%. Christian got 0%, and Max got 33% on 6 votes.
How many votes? 6?
6, yeah.
There we go.
Oh no, Christian's gonna go rig the poll and vote himself now.
Nah.
All right, guys. Well, we'll keep you guys updated on our Twitters for if we're going to be back next week. Obviously, with Easter, we don't know everything that's going to go on. But thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you guys next week. And come on, you Spurs.
And welcome to the TWSN Patreon page. Here we